This brand new legendary city skin is on its way to Rise of Kingdoms as part of the upcoming Zenith of Power event. But should you go for this city skin? And what is the value of this city skin compared to other city skins in Rise of Kingdoms? Well, stick around in this video as I break it down and a whole bunch more. What's up everybody, Psycho here with another Rise of Kingdoms video, and as you can tell we have a brand new overlay for our upcoming videos that we'll be doing, and also some potential live streams. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of this video, but for right now I want to talk about this city skin that is coming to Rise of Kingdoms. We just found out about this city skin. We know it's going to be part of the Zenith of Power event. Of course, there's also an epic city skin coming along the way, but really the thing we care about is this legendary city skin. How much value is there in this legendary city skin? So first let's start talking about this city skin and just exactly how much it's worth. So I'm going to pull that city skin up here on my screen just a moment. I'm going to remove a couple of things here. Yes, okay, so here we go. This is the city skin we're talking about, the Palace of the Stars. This is a French translation. I found this on the Absodian Discord. I will put a link to that Discord down below, so thanks to whoever posted that there. I don't speak French, but we can tell what's going on here just by taking a look at this. We can see that it does come from the Zenith of Power event. We can also see that it adds 15% defense to archers at the cost of 15% infantry attack and 5% cavalry attack. So the question is, how valuable is this city skin? Should you go for this city skin? What kind of players might want to think about going for this city skin? So to do that, we're going to go to our friend, my Rise of Kingdoms battle calculator here, and look, it's an archer based city skin, so that's what we really want to focus on. We want to focus on what is really the value of archer defense. And so I've added here, you can see I've called it the Star Palace and maybe Palace of Stars. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to come in with the English translation, but for now we can see that this is adding 15% defense to our march, and in this case we are looking at Egypt as an archer march. We've got Egypt selected as our civilization here. Again, we've got this city skin, and we're going to look at a couple of different marches. We're going to look at the mainstay rally marches that people are using in Rise of Kingdoms today. So that would include marches like Boudica Gilgamesh, Boudica Henry. So first, starting with the Egypt civilization, we've got Boudica Gilgamesh, and I'm going to go ahead and just say, look, let's imagine you are a top of the tier rally commander. You have the full 6-piece archer set, all with special talents, all with iconics. You also have a Ring of Doom special talented with iconics. You have a Horn of Fury special talented with iconics. Why does that matter? Look, and I know it's been a long time since I've shown this calculator here. I'll try to put a card at the top for another video where I think I talked about this calculator if I can find it. But in any case, just to show you how this calculator works, I can check this iconic here and notice because this is a weapon, it changes the base health. So if we're looking right here at this number 228, when I push the iconic button off, it changes it down to 224. That's because it gets 3 points, plus because it's special talented, it gets an extra base point there, so now it goes to 228. There's some really interesting things here. Obviously, because we are Egypt, Egypt actually has some of the highest base stats here. That's 239 health. We can see from the base stats for the T5 Egyptian Archer Special Unit. And we are assuming we have maxed all of our alliance tech, all of our individual tech, all of that kind of stuff that we normally get from just playing the game. And then, of course, we're talking about Season of Conquest, so we've got 42% max tech here for Season of Conquest. Egypt also adds an extra 5% attack, so we see a 5% attack there. We also are assuming we're at least VIP 17. We can actually change this if we want. We can go to VIP 18, where we get a little bit of extra march speed, but that's not really relevant for the calculations we're talking about here today. We can also change our commanders. We've got Boudica, we've got Gilgamesh. That's a pretty reasonable start. That's a pretty reasonable commander setup that we might see. And I'm going to focus down here on these numbers, the average damage above baseline, the damage reduction above baseline, and the total effectiveness above baseline. To talk about these numbers or to understand the relevance of these numbers, we really have to know what we mean by baseline. the baseline Archer March for this setup, and I know people will laugh and say, well, that's ridiculous, but it doesn't really matter what the baseline is. You have to set some kind of a baseline, and then you just compare everything to that baseline. So the baseline Archer March here is Kusunoki with Herman, and you know we've got talents, and I can show you over here. We actually have here's the commander talent stats that are also included for the primary commander, and then we get the total stats. So this is looking at the total stats and then comparing that to this baseline March. The baseline March, I believe, has all epic gear, if I'm remembering correctly. It may be, I'm pretty sure it's all epic gear with special talents. So that's the baseline March. So look, obviously this March is going to be way, way better than the baseline March. These are legendary commanders. These are full legendary proc sets. Obviously it's going to be better. But the question is, when we change the city skin, how does that affect our March? A couple of other things worth adding. We're assuming we have a 10% defense token active. We're also assuming we have a 10% health rune active at the time that we are using this commander. And presumably we're going to be using this in some kind of a rally situation. And so what we can see here is that when we have Boudica Gilgamesh with this full setup, we see a total effectiveness of 213.53. And I'm actually going to put this information in over here. Make sure I'm not missing anything here, just so we've got all that clear. Okay, so Boudica Gilgamesh with the Star Palace, we see a 213.53 effectiveness relative to baseline. And now let's go ahead and switch over. In this case, let's switch this over to the other sort of I guess the way to say it is the legendary city skin that we might compare that to. So that's the Amber Fortress. So how good is the Amber Fortress, which gives health, by the way, compared to, say, the Star Palace? And we see that this adds 10% health here. And when we do that, we see a 211.71. So that tells us the Star Palace is just a little bit better for Boudica, for the Boudica Gilgamesh rally. I'm not sure everybody's running a Boudica Gilgamesh rally, but in any case, that's this rally here. So sorry, I'm going to put this, I'm going to change this Boudica Gilga. Actually, I'll just do it this way to make sure it all fits. Boudica Gilga, that'll be BG. This will be Boudica Henry. And then here we'll do Gilga Henry, which is another rally that people are running. Let me just make a copy of this because we're going to do this for both the Egypt civilization. We're also going to do this for the Ottoman civilization, the other Archer civilization as well. So in fact, let's go ahead and just do that now. Let's go ahead and switch this over to Ottoman, T5 Archers. Let's change our civilization here to Ottoman, which is going to change some of our stats a little bit. And with the Archers, Boudica Gilgamesh, that's this one right here, and we're on Amber Fortress, we see that that is a 213.63. And now let's change that over to the Star Palace. And when we do that, we get a 215.61. So the point here is that's what we're comparing, are these two numbers to each other. It's actually, did I do this backwards? I did exactly backwards. So the Star Palace should be this one. Let me move those around. That should do it for us. Okay. So the point here is that the Star Palace seems to be just a little bit better than the Amber Fortress in the situation. It's not a whole lot better, but we see about a 2% increase in effectiveness, maybe a little under 2% increase in effectiveness for depending on if we're Egypt or the Ottoman Empire. Okay, so now let's go back, or well, actually, let's just leave that here for right now, and let's switch up our commanders. Let's go to Boudica and Henry, which is a popular rally march right now. Okay, so we see Boudica Henry, we're Ottoman. We have the Star Palace up, so that is 161.08. Now, don't get caught up in the comparisons between these two because there's a couple of factors that aren't taken into account here. One of those is skill damage, and one of the reasons that these numbers they look like they're way off. It looks like Gilgamesh is way stronger. Don't be fooled by that. Sorry, I put this in the wrong spot. That should be here. Don't worry about that. The more important comparisons are the top one to the bottom one. That's what we really care about, is the city skin. So let's go ahead and change this back to the Amber Fortress, and we see this is a 160.85. So again, here we see that the Star Palace or Palace of the Stars, whatever it is just a little bit better in this case, but not much. These are really, really super close. We're talking about a 0.13 difference between these two. Is that right? 0.13? Yeah, 0.13 difference. No, that's not right. 0.15, 0.23 difference between these two. So I'm not even sure if that's right. Am I doing the math right? 2, 3, 20. Yes, so 0.23 difference between these two. So it's not much difference in effectiveness. The point is they're basically effectively the same when we're talking about Ottoman. Let's switch that over to Egypt as a comparison. Egypt T5 archers. And we're going to change our civilization here to Egypt. And now we're looking at Boudica Henry. We're looking at the Amber Fortress, which is, let's see, giving us a total of 159.06 with Egypt. And now let's switch that back over to the Ottoman. And we can see that we get a little bit more health when we do Ottoman. Or rather, sorry, not Ottoman, rather I want to switch it over to the Star Palace. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, but that's one thing to notice is that when I do change the troop type and the civilization where the bonuses show up. Okay, so let's see, this one is 159.08, so it's basically identical. But there's a trivial difference between those two. Now let's go to the last one. Let's go to Gilgamesh and Henry. So Gilgamesh and Henry is a really probably pretty specific rally for when they have a Zenobia. This is probably the rally you're going to want to be using just because of Gilgamesh's blood craving effect. Okay, so Gilgamesh Henry, we're talking about the Star Palace. We're looking at Egypt, so that's this one right here. We're looking at 231.10. And now let's change that again to, if I can find it, I went up way too high. Okay, there's so many city skins these days. The Amber Fortress. Okay, there we go. And it is a 229.16. So we see again that the Star Palace is just a little bit better, and I think that's going to be the case here when we switch this over to Ottoman as well. So going back to Ottoman T5, going back to the Ottoman civilization here, and when we do that, we see which one are we on? And we're on Amber Fortress, so that's this one, 231.21. And finally, the last thing we need to do here is go to not Summer Palace, but the Star Palace, 233.29. Okay, so big picture here, and you can just compute the differences between these so you can see the differences in effectiveness. In all cases, the Star Palace is just a little bit better, but in all cases, it's also very, very small difference. So the Star Palace is just a little tiny bit better than these, and particularly when we have Boudica Henry, we see almost no difference whatsoever. So those are those two. When we get Gilgamesh into the mix, we see a little bit bigger difference. The reason for this is because Gilgamesh adds a lot of health, and so the Amber Fortress doesn't help Gilgamesh as much. If we look at Gilgamesh's stats here, we see that this march actually adds 30% health. Whereas if we go back to Boudica, we don't get any health added there, and so that's a big deal when we're looking at Gilgamesh. We see a lot of health added. The other thing I should point out here, a reason that these numbers are so large, is because I'm assuming all of the rally bonuses and things that Gilgamesh gets in open field situations, these analyses don't apply. This is really this includes Gilgamesh's rally skill as a really effective rally skill that is working the way you want it to work in a rally here as well. So look, big picture. I think here is that the Star Palace is a very good city skin. It's 15% stats, so that's really valuable. The thing is, if you already have the Amber Fortress, I don't really see a whole lot of value in going for it. I don't really think if you're an archer rally leader and you have the Amber Fortress already, 10% health, there's probably not a lot of gain in going for this Palace of the Stars as well. I might have said Summer Palace, but I mean Star Palace or Palace of the Stars, whatever it is. If you don't have the Amber Fortress, you should probably consider going for this Palace of the Stars. It does seem to have a lot of value in that case. So look, that's what we're looking at for this the city skin and what I think people should be thinking about. Look, in an ideal world, if you were thinking what's best for the kingdom, the players who already have the Amber Fortress wouldn't go for it. The players who don't have the Amber Fortress would. The Archer rally leaders who don't have it would go for it. Look, I think that's unrealistic to expect kingdoms to behave that way. Obviously, players want to go for this city skin if they want to go for the city skin, but I think that would be sort of the ideal world for your kingdom's most benefit. All right, now I'm going to switch back over here to this display. Look, as I mentioned, we've got a brand new overlay here. We can check out some things that are going on in the KVK, so I'll give a really brief update because the most exciting news is that these passes are going to be opening up here in just a handful of days. We're not quite there yet that they're showing up, but if I go into the Chronicles, we can see where we're at in about 2 days. We're going to get this opening up, and then another 12 hours after that, we will open up the level 5 passes. So yeah, well actually, sorry, we have to do, maybe the forts take a day or two, and then these open up 12 hours later, and then there's going to be a heck of a lot of fighting, as I will show you here on the map. I'm going to zoom out to give you a picture. So this is us in the top left corner here. I don't think I've given any overviews of this KVK yet, so here we are in the top left corner. We are have already blocked in this camp. We actually didn't do hardly any fighting whatsoever. They didn't come out, so there was no fighting to be had, nothing to be shown there, nothing to really talk about. We will be fighting in this zone 6 here. We're going to be fighting against this camp, and we are also going to be fighting against this camp here. Both of those camps have access to this zone, and both of those camps are also Imperium kingdoms like we are, so we're going to be fighting a 1v2 Imperium situation here in Broughton. So that will be, I mean, that's going to be a ton of fighting over many days. And then what's going on down here, our allies have largely won this zone here, Maka. Let me point out another couple of things here. One, this ally has nowhere to go. They can just go into this Kalka zone. They can go into this zone here, and then they're going to get a free roll into Shiki. There can't be anybody to stop them there, but they also can't participate. They can't actually do anything until these level 6 passes open up. But right here, our allies are this camp here in the corner, have been fighting against our opponents who are in this camp, and it's the the standard thing that Rise of Kingdoms really needs to fix. So you can see that this fort's repairing. This one's still burning, but it's just forts. This looks like it would be from the middle camp, but this is actually from the bottom left corner camp. That's the green camp there. So it's just fort burning. A lot of fort burning going on here to try to push through to this pass. In fact, wow, this just happened. I don't exactly. They must be moving a fort or something. Maybe they're giving up the zone. I'm not exactly sure. That all went dead. Some fort must have been removed there. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but that wasn't dead just a little bit ago. So in any case, our allies have sort of won this zone, and they're going to spill into Batafo, but unfortunately, it's going to be a tough fight for them, just like it is for us, because not only this camp that they've been fighting will they be fighting against again here in Batafo, but also this Imperium camp down here will be flooding into that zone as well. So they will also be facing a 2v1 just like we're going to be facing. So a lot of fighting to come, and then after some number of days of that, these level 6 passes open up, and then these 2 middle camps can get into the action, including this middle camp over here, which will have the same situation where it's going to be into this zone, and then it will have to wait until it can come around through level 6 into these zones to do more fighting as well. So a lot's going to happen here. It's hard to say how this is going to happen or what's going to happen in this KVK. It's a 3v5. It's this 3 on this west side or left side of the map versus the other 5 kingdoms and camps, and they have 3 Imperiums themselves, whereas we're just the 1 Imperium on our side. But we have some really good allies. Should be an exciting KVK, should be a lot of kills. And because I have this new overlay, because I have this new setup, I've got now the Rock PC version. That's kind of where I've been for a while, is trying to get all of this set up, which is amazing, by the way. If you don't have the Rock PC version, it's really cool. You can do a lot of really cool things. You can see that my marches have numbers. You can make them move a lot more efficiently, it seems like, because I can just go there and there and there. Like, this is, to me, is way faster in terms of moving than than it was on the, I can just stop it with a click of a mouse or a click of the keyboard, right? You know, and I can just retreat them home with a single click as well. So this is just a much smoother version. I think this is way better version. So we've got this going on. A whole bunch of other things going on right now. We're in Osiris League. I'm fighting out of the Shadow Wolves, or SW alliance, and we've done pretty well. So actually this is this will show, I think, here. This is Live. This is the alliance that I'm currently in. Their team has done really well as well. They've won their group, and they'll be fighting this one out. And I think I am in, I think we're in 23 maybe. No, I don't remember which one we're in. Maybe it's 25. Yeah, there we are. We'll be fighting here on Sunday at 15 UTC against these opponents here. So it should be a really good match, and we'll see if we can make it to the finals of the qualifiers. There's been a whole bunch of other stuff going on, updates on forts, all of those kinds of things. I won't get into those. There's a whole bunch of videos out there on that already that have really covered that pretty well. The big thing that we've got coming up next is we're going to be crafting some gear, and we're going to be finishing our Boudica Prime here at some point. We've got an archer wheel coming up in about a week or so, so it's hard to say if we can wait long enough or if we just need to go ahead and expertise her. We are going to be crafting a full archer set here pretty soon as well, and I will be either live streaming that or bringing that to you here on the channel as well. Look, that's it for this video. I hope you learned something about the city skin. I hope that you know, you think about whether or not the city skin makes sense for you to go for. Obviously, for a Zenith of power, you have to gain a lot of power to win those city skins. When I got the city skin that I have here, I did something like 42 or 43 million power. I'll put a card at the top where I talk about winning that Zenith of power. I finished 7th in that Zenith of power to get the city skin. If you want to check that out. But, you know, it's up to you to decide. Do you think the city skin is worth it for you? Hopefully this video gives you some better insight if you already have the Amber Fortress as to whether or not you want to go for the city skin. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next one.